Hello, welcome to another episode of Flying High with Flutter. I'm your host, Alan Wyma. Today I'm with Thibaut, if I say that correctly, Léaux.
Yes,
He is
almost.
almost, maybe you can help me after this. He created a very interesting app that I thought was very much, how we call that, related to kind of people talking these days about AI and ChatGPT and OpenAI, etc. He created this app called Sherpa, which is using llama.cpp behind it. So maybe I'll go ahead and let the expert say more. Do you mind to give a quick introduction about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Thibaut, and I'm currently working in a mobile development company. We are using Flutter since I think it's been 3 years now. We are working on different projects, including mobile cross-platform application or just web application that we can develop in Flutter. We are getting more and more interested by the technology. We even started to develop backend using the Dart language now. Sherpa is an app that we developed with my colleague Maxime, that will not be present today, but he can share like half the development of this app with me. And we are working on AI and this kind of projects for weekend projects.
So this is just nothing related to work, right? Just your own thing.
Yes, we have multiple clients that have needs, but that does not need AI for now. But I guess in the future it will be maybe something that will include in our projects. So we wanted to have to try to implement Llama in a Flutter environments, because we were really interested in both technologies, and that's what we did in this demo application.
Well, maybe we can kind of step back a little bit and talk about what is Llama, right? Because maybe not everybody knows about this. I definitely didn't know about it until I saw your app and went digging and to understand a little bit more, because Llama is, I don't even know how to describe what it actually is. It's like an offline AI.
Yes. Basically, you've heard maybe of all these text languages models since ChatGPT came out like in November or something like that. And so there is a big race in the biggest companies to make the more, let's say, profitable language model. And in this race, Facebook released an open source project called Llama for researcher, and made it available like in March, I think, early March. And it was released only for research, but leaked on 4chan, if I remember. And from there, there have been like thousands of projects working on this local ChatGPT.
Yeah, but actually, if I remember correctly, this llama is like all offline, right? So you don't need to
Yes.
have like a constant data feed given to it.
So there are two parts in this project. There is the code that can run the model, and the pre-trained model that Facebook released. It comes in 4 different sizes, if I remember. There is the 7 billion parameter model, and another bigger one which has 13 billion, another of 30 billion, and another 65 billions. It seems that the more parameters the model have, the more it will be interesting in its results, and produce more quality data.
Well, the data, right? I was trying to read up about it, and it's all offline. It's quite a big file. People keep talking about 7B, I believe, is the most common. So, what is actually in this data? Do you know much about what's inside this 7B file? It's a database of tokens, I believe they call it.
Yes, totally. It's a database of 4 gigabytes of content of tokens, just tokens that were trained initially by Facebook. But people since March have specialized the pre-trained data to make several text languages enhanced from the 7 billion and from 13 and 30. To train it, you require the best CPUs that you can have on the market, and you need like maybe hundreds if you need to train your data to specialize it, to specialize your model. So it was before that release only available to huge companies that put billions of dollars, millions, if not billions, in the training.
So it's already trained data that's basically ready to be used, right?
Yes, it's trained data. So what I think it's amazing is that maybe it's a huge file of 4 gigabyte for the smallest model, but it seems like there is the full content of whole history contains in it. It's really amazing.
Well, this 4 gigabyte of file, right? I mean, how much use can it actually be? Like, what can I actually do with it?
It's just a simple model that tries to predict the next word in a sentence, but it has the ability to predict something that is really valuable, because if you can predict the next word in a context, you can like hack it and make it just say something that is really I don't know to explain it in simple terms, but from a just simple text generation, you can have a lot of sense in almost any context.
Well, the one thing I did see is that somebody was saying, okay, like today is a good day because, and then I guess it should be predicting like, okay, because the sun's shining or this kind of thing, right? But I cannot say, okay, can you tell me, who's going to win the World Series, right? You cannot do this kind of stuff.
It could, but it needs a lot of context. Basically, if you just provide it one sentence, it does not have a lot of context. It just wants to continue that sentence, but it does not know what will be the result of the next biggest soccer game or anything like that. But if you provide it a lot of data, as it was trained on billions of text, it can produce the more probable results based on what you gave him.
Well, I mean, the data is not really static per se, right? Because you can keep feeding it more data and then it'll keep adding to its database, or because I did see that you can keep training it now.
You need to train it. You cannot just add data like you want to add today's weather or something like that. You need to train it on a large corpus of text that include the majority of what you want to make it say after. So if you specialize this network by only feeding it, let's say weather data, it will only spit after that the weather data, and you won't be able to have something else.
Okay. But is there a specific topic that llama.cpp, that 7B database, is it actually is really good at? Like what kind of, is it only just for predicting ending of sentences?
Yes, basically every text model that you can use, even ChatGPT or GPT-4, are just able to produce data based on what you gave it before. But you can use what you call a pre-prompt to make it follow one direction. You can for example, say, okay, now you are a chatbot and you are writing mails for me. This is an example of a mail that I want, and you will now give me another mail with this context. When you are using large models like ChatGPT, there are this kind of preferences that are hidden to the user, but it always says like you are in the chat and now the user will ask you something.
Well, that's basically how your app works, right? You're saying that you set up the context to that llama CPP, and you're saying, okay, there's a user in the chat, and expect them to be asking questions.
Yes, because if you don't say anything, you don't give in a pre-prompt or something that will make it talk like a chatbot. It will just spit out everything that it wants. Maybe it's a code, maybe it's just nonsense. It basically depends on what it was trained on, but it's just random because you have not told him what to do.
Okay. Well, I mean, running this kind of data is not easy to do, right? I mean, like typically, like this ChatGPT and things I heard is thousands of machines and GPUs to have to run properly. But this one is famous. The Llama CPP is famous because it's all offline and it can be run on very simple hardware. I saw somebody saying that somebody else got it running on a Raspberry Pi, but it said like it ran like 10 seconds for every word that you gave to it or something like that, which I guess it makes sense. I don't know. Like, isn't that the point of this llama, is that it's able to run in so many different places?
I think that when Facebook released it, they wanted to make the data and the models available on almost every device. What llama.cpp made was to optimize this code that Facebook gave, because it was still running on a bit heavy computers, a bit high quality computers, and now we can make it work even on a phone, like we made on Sherpa, by just compiling the llama.cpp to run on the mobile device or Raspberry Pi, like you said.
Yeah, that's quite amazing. So, but it's you can't just run this like on any phone, right? I did see that you have a very specific. There's some very specific requirements. Now, can you go over those?
Um, we have not tested it on a lot of devices, but what we've found, well, it's not a discovery because it's quite logical. You need a lot of RAM to run the network, because you need to load the 4 gigabyte model into the RAM to run it, just to run it.
And the model's only 4 GB, but you actually need more than 4 GB of RAM, right?
Yes, because there is everything about the Android OS and every other function that are running. If you have just a simple phone with nothing on it, maybe you can run it on less RAM, but currently we only managed to run it on 8 gigabytes.
8 GB, that's really a lot, right? I think most phones are not that big. So basically, flagship phones can only run this.
Yes, we also tried on the latest iPhones, and we were not able to make it run, even if we tried to compile it for Mac, because we made a Flutter app, so it's really easy to just compile the code to run on something else. And on Mac, it's really interesting because it's quite fast, even on the CPU. But on an iPhone, it was not possible. I have a OnePlus 7, and it's running quite fast, I think, for like 2019's phone. Yes, it was released like 4 years ago. But we could not manage to make it run on a lot of device because of the RAM requirements.
I'm almost wondering. I mean, did you run this when you ran on a Mac? Were you running on an M1 or were you running on Intel?
I think it's a M1 Mac that we have in. We tried to run it also on an M2 Mac, which was like a Mac from 1 year ago, and it was really fast. We try a lot of models because we have GPUs on our computers, and I think on the M2 Max it was almost as fast as on the GPUs that we are using to run other models.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because these new chips are really specialized, and I think they have some specialized AI components, but I'm not too sure exactly if that makes a difference or not.
Yes, I cannot explain, but I think Apple is has released a specialized CPUs only for AI.
Where did the idea come from? You said that it was just that some of your clients are looking at this, or you feel like this is the future to start actually running AI on your phone eventually?
This was an idea that we had because we spend a lot of time developing mobile apps. Even in our free time, we develop apps just for us, like to automate some tasks that we have for home automation and stuff like that. And we were talking about it with my colleague, and we wanted just to see if it was working because someone talked about using a terminal app to run the model, and it was working. So we wanted just to make an app around it to make it much more easy to give him other pre-prompts or just copy the content that we could create. And it was quite handy to have this in our pocket, like at any moment. So it was just for fun, but we are really impressed that it can run that fast.
Now, when you guys are playing around with this, what kinds of things were you asking the chatbot to do?
Uh, as we are developing in the same time that we are trying it, we have like a 3 or 4 sentences that we give in every time, like from the sentences from the office show and stuff like that, because we know that it says almost every time the same kind of stuff. So we don't play a lot with it, but when we try it afterwards, like when we are not working on it, we try to make it like we try to make it do mails, and it was quite working well, and we actually sent some mails that we generated using Sherpa.
Now, when you're saying mails, you're saying emails?
Yes, emails, sorry. Yes, because when we are using ChatGPT or something else, we don't know what happens to our data. So by running stuff like that in our computers or phones, we can be sure that it won't be shared. Sensitive data won't be shared to other companies.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I guess my whole thought process is that it must be that these companies are letting us play with their AI models so they basically get free training, and then who knows what they're doing with it, right?
Yes, they are doing free training because I don't know if you played with it a lot, but they are like thumbs up and thumbs down when you make something. So you can use reinforcement training by just telling them yes, it's a good sentence, or no, I don't want this content. So we are providing them free training.
Yeah, but I'm also wondering too, like if that's also the case, could it also be that the training could also be faulty coming from other people if people are just putting in data? I mean, you could be purposely training the model to be wrong, no?
Mm. Yes, but I think they must have some kind of checking before training the data with the user content, because you can make just about that keep saying okay, this is a good content even if it's not, but I think they will filter the data.
It's a good point. I mean, I wonder if they're doing that because I do remember there was a story many years ago where there was a chatbot made by I think Baidu or one of these Chinese companies. Did you hear this story before?
Yes, the chatbot that became like lazy or something like that. Yes.
Yeah, they basically said that they wanted to move to US and follow the American dream or something like that. And so they had to turn off the chatbot. So, which is quite interesting. So that's why I'm wondering how much moderation they actually do on the content, but it would be good to moderate the content for that reason, right?
Yes, I think they have a huge teams working on it because I don't know if you try to use the Bing chat that is using OpenAI's models. At first, when it released in March or something like that, it was having like existential crisis when it answers people. You could just make it spit a lot of negative content, and so they quickly shut it down and only let people use it for five chats, if I remember. And as soon as they detected that they were talking about the chat, they shut down everything.
Interesting. But I did see you guys are also putting in more and more features, right? I think that new feature you guys added in was like another type of model.
Yes, the possibility to choose which model you wanted to run. So basically, some models are trained to answer to prompts that start with three dashes or three hashtags or something like that. So we included the possibility to detect for GPT-4All, if I remember, kind of prompt. Every model has its specific pre-prompt.
Well, I've seen this one. It says now it works with, is it Vicuna or Vicuna on a Vicuna?
Mm-hmm.
What is that exactly?
So we'll talk about Vicuna. That is a model that was trained a month ago. I don't remember who trained it exactly, but I think it was a university, or I can look for it quickly. But it's a really, really good model that has that was trained on prompts from a ChatGPT database that a user save their prompts, and it's quite good. It's a quite good model to work with. So we wanted to integrate it to Sherpa.
So how this thing works is you're basically just using the real llama.cpp, right? Because that can compile the native code.
Yes. So what we did was we compiled the code from llama.c++, and we made it into a library, a C library. What we actually did was that we used the Dart FFI to connect to the library that we compiled, and basically we just rewrote the main of the llama.c++ to call it from the Flutter.
Now, are you using some of the new FFI features that came out with Dart? Because I know that they're trying to add more FFI support. Because with that one, I think they said that you don't even need to, or no, that's if you're using the native code. So you're not using a platform channel, right? You're just going straight through the Dart FFI.
Yes, we are linking the some of the functions in the code to functions in Dart. So by doing this, we have to manage things like pointers and memory by using malloc functions. So we need to be quite careful by using it, because we are not working in a pure Dart with a garbage collector and stuff like that. But we have a possibility to call native C++ functions.
But I mean, using C++ with Dart, is that a problem? Because I know a lot of times it's usually just C that's compatible.
Yes, I cannot explain exactly why it's working or not working in any case, but we tried it and we were not so sure that it could work by using C++, but it was. So I don't know exactly what Flutter team did on the C++ side. I saw that it was not officially compatible. So maybe we are not able to use like any project in C++. I have not studied this side a lot. We just tried and it worked, so we were quite happy with it.
Now, if you wanted to update the llama CPP, is that simple process for you?
To update it, like you mean to make it Flutter compatible?
No, like let's say there's a new version of llama CPP, maybe the new database, etc. If you want to, because you're not like pointing to it in with like a Git submodule or something, and you just need to git pull and run it, right? You have to actually compile everything again, etc. Is that a big process?
No, it's not that complex because we have like a makefile that we just launch and it will compile for the target CPU that we are working on. But in case they change something in the C++ side, we need to link the other functions or maybe pass it some other variables, and so we cannot just git pull. We need to check if it's still working.
Because what I see is in the project, you're actually pointing to, you have like a reference to another repository. And then that one is actually a fork from the main llama CPP, right?
Yes, it is. It's just a fork where we modified a few functions and to make it just running like a library and working on multiple devices.
So it's just slight changes, not huge changes to make this thing work.
Yes, exactly. It's most of your original code that is running.
Okay, it's quite interesting. And it's good that you can just basically pull, merge, and recompile and everything else, right?
Yes. Actually, it's the first project that we worked using FFI. Because you need to really understand what the main functions are doing if it's not a library, but you could just compile any game, any program or anything that uses C++ or C if you want to be fully compatible, and just rewrite the main loop of your code to make it Flutter compatible and have like a cross-platform UI.
So what's next for Sherpa or your guys' use? Are you planning to keep developing and adding more features to Sherpa?
We'll see, because there are like hundreds of projects that make working Windows apps or just web UIs. So we'll see what we do with it, but maybe we'll go to the Auto GPT side if you've heard of it, because I think that's another quite promising project that includes the llama.cpp. So maybe we'll try to work on it next to make it mobile compatible.
Okay, that sounds like fun. Yeah, I was also thinking like there's also another one you're looking at besides llama. So that was actually my follow-up question to see if you're going to be looking at something else.
Yes, I'm currently looking at the Auto GPT, but it's working using the official OpenAI APIs. So I'm following a few projects that are trying to use local models in order to have an automatic prompt like with AutoGPT. And I've seen one that is using Vicuna, so that's why we are also interested in this model.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I'm quite curious about this because I had a couple people talking to me about, hey, why don't you build something with ChatGPT or something? It's like, first of all, it's not allowed in Hong Kong at the moment, so that's kind of sucks for us. But at the same time, I didn't even take time to even look to see if they have an API and everything else. But with this one, I mean, this could be a method for us to do something with, just to kind of show and see if people are interested, because this seems to be like the hot topic last 6 months or so. But yeah, so it's cool to see that we have this kind of thing, and now I feel like this llama CPP project is bringing that ability to run local instances or your own version of chatbot, right? Or AI for you to play with. So it's quite cool.
Yes. The only problem with it is that originally it was meant for research only because Facebook released it like that. So there are no commercial use possible by using the original model or its derivatives. So people are working on other models based on free data and with a commercial license. So I think once we have better open source and free models that we can use in commercial products, this will be the time, and the time will be soon, but this will be the time where there will be like thousands of integrations in everyday life projects or in every app, or there will be a huge change.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's looking like a pretty exciting landscape. The other thing too that I saw was interesting is that people are asking if there's a way that they could have their own data and upload it too. Do you plan to support something like that? Their own kind of trained models?
To train models on the phone, you mean, on Sherpa?
No, I saw there was a comment, I believe, on your where we found your post, and somebody was asking if there's a way that they could insert their own database, right? So you have that 7B if they can make their own and or insert their own data, if that's actually supported sometime soon. Because I guess they already have trained models.
Yes, we are just using the llama.cpp. So you can basically run any model, I think. I've not tried them all, but I've tried a lot. And we can just use another one if you want directly on the app. We also made a Windows app, and so you can use it and try it really fast, even if you don't have a 8 gigabit RAM mobile device. But we are currently supporting the possibility to use another model. But for the training, we won't include this, I think, because other apps are working with it, and I think it's not the purpose of what we are doing. So
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't think I have any more questions. I thought this was pretty cool, and I wanted to bring it to people's attentions to check out. Is there something else about Sherpa that you wanted to tell everybody?
currently, it's just a project that we are working on for fun, and it won't be commercial ever because we are using basically Vecuna models and or other that are non-commercial. So um, I don't have anything to say other than try it if you want to just experiment, because it's an experiment. And once they will have other models, maybe we will have other uses for it. But now it's just a fun little AI companion that you can use to talk to, and being sure that the data won't be sent anywhere because it's open source, so you can check the code. So and compile it yourself if you prefer. But it's just a fun tool that you can use, and you can use by saying anything that you want, because there is no filter other than the models filters that you are using.
All right, sounds good. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on, and I'm looking forward to the next things coming out of your side and see if this inspires other people to do similar things and see if we can bring some more stuff to Dart and Flutter. So this is exciting.
Well, thank you.
Again, thank you for coming on, and yeah, I'm looking forward, and I'll be watching to see what else happens.
Okay, well, bye. Thank you, Alan.